So nice. We did it twice. I am back with Dr. Maya Best. She is here, board certified pediatrician and mental health advocate for our young people. It's Dr. Tony, and I am welcoming her today and sharing her with you because she came to me on a mission, but she was a bit burnout. So we're going to talk about what that looked and felt like and how she got out of there so that she can serve in a new way as a executive coach, as a lifestyle coach, as someone who helps you to finally live the life you envisioned when you started off. I can tell you that we self sabotage quite a bit. And I want her to kind of walk you through her journey because this is a smart woman, right? She had a full scholarship to medical school, which is like a never thing. Nobody does that. Nobody does that. You're amazing. And she had just finished her career training. And so for her to come to me so early in her career, I wish more people would, was remarkable. And I felt like I've interviewed all different types of people, and this is a unique opportunity. So thank you and welcome, Doctor.
Thank you so much. So I am truly grateful for the coaching and mentorship that has been provided. Dr. Tony came in a very critical point in my life. As she said, I was just recently finished residency, and so I was less than 2 years out in my first job, and I was being taken advantage of and mistreated. Again, I was surrounded by many male white superiors who intimidated me from the beginning, such as, telling me you're going to have a nurse practitioner under you, not even in my contract, um, someone under my medical license, and I'm liable for all of a sudden now. And that was it. They came and that's what I was supposed to do. And, my thought pattern was I was still trying to please, still battling perfectionism, internally. I was trying to give all of my energy. I was trying to strive for the best. Always saying yes to any and everything. And I wasn't pouring into my own cup. I was mentally exhausted, physically exhausted. Mind you, this is just brand new in my career. I'm less than 2 years out, but I was already feeling that, working 12-hour days, charting at home, going to sleep sometimes 12, 1 in the morning because I was seeing, over 30 patients a day. I wasn't connecting with my husband like I usually do because I was so tired. I didn't have a lot of time for my 3-year-old energetic son. And so, God works in mysterious ways. And I knew this wasn't it. Like, I knew I wasn't fulfilling my destiny. I knew I was called to reach the younger generation. And I wasn't doing that. And so, every now and again, I would get these little pop ups of Dr. Tony on my feed. And God would be like, that woman needs to be in your life. And, the first time you don't listen, right? You're still trying to do everything you need to do by yourself. But at one point, I couldn't anymore. And so I am like reaching out to her through Messenger, trying to just be seen because I knew that she was the answer, because I did not see myself as I should. The value that I brought to the table, I did not have. And so I just felt like a doormat at that time. And I knew that I was more. And so I finally got in contact with Dr. Tony. Praise the Lord. And it was one of the best decisions, right? Because she instilled in me the value, right? She mentored me and gave me those tools and those strategies that I needed, to build my own self esteem up and to start talking about my own brand, right? I mean, all of these companies that I was working for and wanting to work for, wanted to use me for my assets. Why not promote my own self?
Wait, you
And
said so. Wait, pause,
uh,
breathe, because man, your
okay,
brain moves so fast.
it does.
It moves fast. You're. But tell us you can hear us, because frankly, last time we had a little technical difficulties, but now we're on a roll. I want
Hmm.
to go back and touch on something that is subtle, but you mentioned it, and I kind of typed it up really quick. Contract breach. It's insidious. So you're a worker, you're a giver, you're a doer. And then all of a sudden, you're just getting things piled on top of you that aren't there and you're not compensated for. How
Yep.
did you feel about that? I mean, just when it happened, you were just,
I was honestly shocked and a little bit devastated, because this was a new avenue. I never had someone work under my own license. I mean, I just got my license after, a couple of years. And so having to be responsible for a whole
Right,
nother person that I
right.
didn't even know, didn't know her capabilities, what she was able to do, and signing off on every choice that she made me very nervous. And I almost felt like I was backed into a wall because they were like,
Yeah.
I'm your superior. This is what you need to do. And
Mhm.
I didn't stand up for myself at that time and say no.
When you came to me, you mentioned it in lightning speed because you go fast, but knowing your value and having not having the confidence and not feeling like you could say no. And let's just clarify, I was locums, I worked in many different types of settings. Really, all of the institutions could potentially do this. Doesn't matter the makeup of the staff, it doesn't matter anything, you gender, none of it matters. I have seen the worst, but if we don't know our value, it puts you at risk. It puts you at risk. And you were so energetic. You had mentioned to me that you realized after we talked that you were a martyr. You were a martyr. You were saying yes to everything because you thought, what did you think? You thought to yourself, I need to help these young people, so I don't want to turn them away.
Yes, I felt
Mm.
like I needed to be their advocate. The rural area that I lived in, many of the pediatric patients were going through crisis. I mean, it's a public crisis right now with mental health. But in those rural areas where there is limited access to care, it's even worse. And so I would have these patients that were severe, I mean, severe acuity, suicidality, depression, in and out of, mental hospitals. And the colleagues that were like older than me, even more experienced than me, were turning them away or putting them on referral list for 6 to 9 months to see someone and not comfortable even starting low dose, antidepressants.
Yeah.
They were sending them all to me because I was connecting. I was connecting with them. I was listening to them. I was being their voice and I was making a difference. And I just felt like I was saying yes to all of the referrals that were coming to me, even in house, because I knew they needed somebody. And so, but it was very overwhelming to me personally.
Let's talk about how many of us do what needs to be done. We don't calculate the cost. As a wife and a mom, you already have a plate full, and then bringing home charts and an overpacked schedule. I
Right.
can't even imagine. Did you feel, how did you feel when you would have to say no, or you needed to go on vacation, or you didn't have coverage? How did that feel? Like guilt or?
Very guilty. A lot of the times I would not take vacation because I knew my patients didn't want to see other people, didn't feel comfortable. I know other providers didn't feel comfortable prescribing medications. And so I would take on that burden, but that, of course, affect my family
Yeah,
life, right? I
right,
still need personal time with my husband. I still need to take
right.
care of my son, too. And so it was a lot of guilt. And I did not say no a lot, unfortunately.
When you say you gave up vacation, that's super scary because, we were in a pandemic
Mhm.
and you were already burnt to a crisp, and really there was a never ending line of people needing to see you. And frankly, it's the same in the city, it's the same everywhere. All pediatricians are telling me the same thing, but in general, we were in a pandemic. And so you're being called upon, but no rest. You're at risk.
Exactly.
Oh my God, you're at so much risk. So following these patterns of thinking and behavior, right? How long have you been, this person who just does what it takes? Most of the time it's been a while, right?
I would say ever since I was little, I was always a perfectionist. I always knew, it's always instilled in me, if you work
Right.
hard, you get good grades, you'll have good outcomes, strive for the best, be at the top, you'll be seen and you'll get those rewards. And so that's always been ingrained in me, how much I put in, that's what I'll receive. And so I
Ah,
continued that same pattern.
take a deep breath because, when you meet someone like myself, y'all frantically inbox me, right? When you meet
Mhm.
someone like myself, I gave a talk the other day about the good girl myth, right? We are always told to stand in line, wait your turn, it will come back to you like it's some kind of super karma that will just ooze into your bank account, right?
Right.
You just keep doing the right thing and things will go your way. And I hear it every day that that's not the case. And all of these ways of thinking and manipulation lead us down a dark path. And I find that the rules equal control.
Yes.
So when they ask you to do things that are outside of your comfort zone, you don't feel like you can say no. But it's not true. But you don't
Right.
feel it's internal. It's not
Mhm.
just the external, but they know this about you, right? So of course it
Mhm.
makes you very vulnerable. How you mentioned your husband. He's
Mhm.
the rock star behind the scenes in the story because, you know, we need to be on the same page as the couple, right? We
We do.
don't want to, we have to communicate with our loved ones. And he apparently supported this move. Like, hey, I need somebody to mentor me. I need some help.
He did. He did. And it's so important to have that support and guidance, to be on the same page when it comes to that, because he knew that investing in me would invest in us in the future.
You said
Hmm.
a key word. Look at you. I don't need to be here. I'm just gonna, go lay down and take a nap.
This is a product of your coaching.
I mean, I find that the people who are the martyrs, right? In you, investing in you, you'll take care of everybody else until the cows come home. But when I say invest in yourself, if it's not part of your formal education, you're like, well, you think of all the things you could be doing with your time and money,
Right.
but giving it away didn't work out, and you certainly can't keep wringing yourself dry and taking your vacations to do work.
Hmm.
It's not so easy to shut it down, but I know that in a few weeks your whole life changed. I think when you saw your career projection just working with me, that was one of the first things. When you first saw it, what did you think to yourself? Like,
First of all, I was amazed at just the level of opportunities and goals that I could reach.
mhm,
Um, and it was actually exciting. I was very hopeful. It
yeah.
sparked a new fire under me that I really never felt before. And that piece of me that was kind of dead inside and just stressed and overwhelmed was coming alive again. And so after that, I knew it was a go time, in a positive way.
And I looked you up. I don't take anybody on without a quick, check. Like, who is this nice lady who's calling me? But you had a brand
Hmm.
and you had your passion. You knew what you were interested in. But trying to get all those ideas. One of my other clients, Dr. Lauren, was saying that she's like, I have so many ideas, so many things in my head.
Hmm.
Turning that into a tangible plan was kind of where I got stuck.
Agreed. I
And
had many things I had like worked on that I just put on the back burner. I would start things and put it off to the side because I didn't think it was perfect or ready yet to go. Wouldn't take that step. And I was just like Lauren, I had many ideas. I'm always thinking of things, and I just needed someone, a plan to help put it together to manifest it to come true.
how is this whole, you were starting to wonder about your role in the medical community and a lot of people question, like, do I have to leave medicine? I thought I loved medicine, but it shouldn't feel like this.
Hmm.
How has this kind of awakening or this new knowledge, this new view of life, this new perspective, how has it really changed your trajectory, your future,
Hmm. So, when I went to medical school, you in medicine, you're always doing that one-on-one connection, like you and the patient, right? And you're making a difference in that one person's life. But honestly, after seeing the vision, seeing the trajectory, seeing how many I can reach, it's more broader. And so I'm able to make a more of a difference, more of an impact over
Yeah.
the world instead of just that one-to-one. And so that is so exciting. I'm so excited.
I know, I can tell. I'm excited for you. I feel like um you were one of those people who you were full of energy, you were giving everybody else everything, and you weren't really turning that internally to figure out what would make you happy. You could serve all these people, but we don't ask, well, what would make me feel like this is my calling and that this is sustainable? You guys are doing so much work. So this advocacy you mentioned in the beginning, you're the advocacy needs to start with how you put your time and energy into being that role model for these young people
Hmm.
and connecting you with other people in the community. I feel like that was a part of it for you. Tell them how, you felt getting connected and having people advocate for you and people in the community looking out for you.
Yeah, so that was awesome. Having people who are like-minded, who have gone through what you're going through now, who can give you, positive criticism, advice, and help you along the way is so beneficial, especially for someone like me who's just starting the journey, right? And so having those key factors and players and continuing. I mean, there's still members of the community that I still keep in contact with. Shout out to Dr. L, who's been amazing, and still gives me pearls of wisdom that helps
Yeah.
me, on this career path. And so it's truly amazing to see the support system when you get a group of people together, and see how you're bouncing ideas off each other and how that energy is flowing. Right? It's high vibrations. Right? You're surrounded by positive energy, and it feeds on you. It's good.
I always put this word into the conversation because a lot of my clientele they're not like me. I'm very outgoing and so on. And they're like, do I have to be like you? No, but we do want you to think of networking as connection. I try to replace the word with connection so that's not so scary, but just kind of the way you jumped in was a new version of yourself. Our work one to one, and then I put you in the community with my other coaching clients. You were able to feel like a safe space to try things out.
Exactly. Yeah.
I saw it. I was like, okay, I know she's like, I don't know anybody here.
Hmm.
But then it ended up being really positive for you and helping you in the transition and a big move from the rural community into the city.
A huge move. It was a
Huge.
critical point when I came into your coaching. I mean, I moved. It was a lot. I moved houses, moved cities, moved jobs. Moved responsibilities as far as what I was doing, and so truly grateful, because I have experienced less hardworking
Work less, make
demands.
more.
Exactly. So I'm making a lot more, thanks to this move, working less, have way more time with my son and my husband. I'm working like 50% clinical, 50%
Right.
admin, now doing what I love with mental health, being that advocate, helping those and
Yes.
teaching others how to be more comfortable with helping the younger generation too. And so
Mhm.
positive moves all around. Hmm.
Think about how many times you wanted to continue what you were doing, but you weren't compensated fairly. Now that you have experienced that, what would you tell these people who are hesitating? There are always these people who are like, "Oh, I don't need help. I don't need anybody to help me out." We turned your life around like quickly.
Yes. I would say it's ingrained in us to wait until we're in like crisis mode, to be very reactive instead of proactive. I would encourage them to make that step, right? Because you're investing in yourself. Make that step
Yeah.
to be proactive. Instead of being reactive and ending up in crisis mode. You don't want to wait until time has passed by and opportunities have passed by and you're not enjoying life yourself. And so
Yeah.
um I'm glad I took that step, because if I didn't, I would be in the same cycle that I was in, and I knew that there's more to life than that.
There's patients everywhere. We found the right place for you to
Exactly.
transition. You're getting a graduate degree now that you weren't even necessarily anticipating.
That's right.
It's a new world now. We have opened
Hmm.
up your ideas that were kind of stuffed into a box, and now you can be that real global health advocate. You're in your master's program. You didn't have time for any of that before we started changing it around.
I did not. Oh
So
gosh, I would have cried if someone said, "Do you want to take a couple classes for your MPH?"
do some
Um,
more work.
yes, but now I have time for it, and the new job is paying for it.
Say
So
that twice. Okay, so let's just run that down. Work less, make more. Figure out exactly where you want to put your extra time besides, the family and the fun,
mhm.
and get your job to pay for it. Your raise was so substantial that that's more than average American makes. You understand what I mean? Like people
Oh
don't,
yes.
yes. Man, I just don't, I just wish more women talked about money. And y'all need to call me because I used to work in finance. I know how much y'all don't talk about money. Now you're
Hmm.
like, let's talk about it.
Right.
Look, there's a lot of coaches in the world. There's a lot of coaches in the world. When you look around, you see them everywhere. Why would
Hmm.
you tell somebody go for it? At least talk to her, like at least talk to Dr. Tony. Why would you say that?
You know, I would at least encourage everyone to at least talk and do a consult because you never know what you're missing until it's brought to the table. You never know what doors could be opened. You never know what opportunities are out there or what you're missing until you lay it all out in front of you. I was in denial for a while, right? Because of that same cycle that I was in. And, you know, your mentorship is on a whole nother level that opened up my eyes. And so I would say, even if you just want to see the possibilities, you know, it
Yeah.
a chance, to do something different. If you're not feeling 100% fulfilled, if it's even an inkling in your thought process that this ain't it, it's about time to at least have a talk.
Well, I just thank you, my PR person, but I am so grateful that you took the mentorship and the community building, and now you get to gift that to the world. That's the whole
Right.
point. As soon as we get done getting you ready, you're now able to do much more and touch many more lives because you now have the right resources and the right time on your hands. You did not have time
At all.
or energy. Burnout is one of those things that isn't a real diagnosis. It's not a medical condition, but tell that to the people who have trouble getting out of bed. They're so
Right.
worn down.
It is real. It's real.
It is, and I also worry that you're overbooked and overscheduled because that not being able to say no. So get in touch with me, drtonymd.com/talk, if you want to just figure out what it could look like.
Hmm.
Many of my breakthrough calls are talking about what's not working, but then we quickly get on to what you really have been thinking about and just can't quite put your finger on how to do it. It's not always a brand, but I did encourage your brand to come forward so that you could touch these people because with all this technology, you're getting feedback from these young people, right?
Yes, I am.
What's
My
happening?
brand. So I have a brand, Dr. Maya Knows Best, and it kind of has a play on words with my last name. But basically, it's a platform because of this crisis with mental health. Like you said earlier, the depression rates, anxiety rates, the suicide rates, they have increased, especially post COVID. And we're seeing it more and more in the younger generation. So now we're seeing 5, 6, 7-year-olds, on medications, needing counseling and therapy because of everything that they're going through, all the pressures, right? And
Terrible.
there's no advocacy. It's because the majority of our time and energy, as a nation, is put towards the elderly, right? But we need to be again more proactive and build up the younger generation because they are our future. They're our next doctors and lawyers and head of states and senators. And so my platform is to talk about those very hard topics, those controversial topics, but then also giving them a platform to speak as well and for them to know that there's going to be a change. I'm on a mission. And I'm so excited about it because, beforehand, it was just a thought. It was just a thought. And I didn't know that it could come true. But now it's actually a reality. And so
It's not
thanks.
even been a year. That's
It has not.
I'm so grateful that you trusted me to guide you, to prod you when you weren't as comfortable. Those comfort zones will
Yeah.
whisper in your ear all the things that you fear, and failure and perfectionism are running in your mind. But in the end, the mission comes first. And if you can figure out how to self manage all the things that are in your head, there's no limit to what you can do. I'm shocked at how quickly you were able to just get moving, and maybe hearing it out loud enough,
Hmm.
you realize I don't have to wait.
No, and you pushed me out of my comfort zone too. Even when I'd be like, "Well, what if?" No, you don't need to. Like that type of love and mentorship is rare, and so I needed that, and
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
You're welcome. I will encourage people at all levels of their career to question these mentors that are stuck where they are. They at one point there was this big split between where they were and where you were trying to go, but now that you're coming into your own and you're starting to see where you are headed, these people around you oftentimes they are not going to know anything about what you're talking about, the steps that need to be taken. They can't connect you to people who are already doing that. About 60%, 70% of my clients have a brand that makes money. They're entrepreneurs. I have a client who's making seven figures in her part-time
Let's go. Yeah.
yeah, media company, right? So and you can look on my drtonymd.com page, but there's no limit if you start to think about what your natural gifts are. It ain't just your day job. So
Right.
preparing for that future is also important, getting everything ready. Make sure you guys ask any questions. We can always double back and look at these questions later. But thank you for coming. Thank you for
Of course.
serving these young people so that we will not be old with no one who looks out for us. It's a blessing. Dr. Maya knows best. You know, if you want to take a look at what she's up to, if you want to, if you especially if you're in Texas, she is there helping young people. And I have a feeling it won't just be Texas as the years go by. We will have you introduced to even more people in our community. If you want to join us in drtonymdvip.com, this is where I have daily coaching going on right now. We are talking about the difficult things right now in my group. So if you want to join us there, it's my free community for professional women. Sorry, guys. Maybe one day we'll talk to you, but feel free to join us in our community because being around other people who are working on the same goals is the secret sauce. Thank you, Dr. Maya. It's Dr. Tony. I
Yeah.
am so glad you came. Is there any parting words or encouragement you can offer to another young new career person just in case, they need a little word of encouragement?
Yeah. The only thing I would say is you are not alone. Many people have gone through what you've gone through, and we are
Mhm.
here to help. And so just let us help you, right? So you can help others. Invest in yourself. You cannot take care of anyone unless you take care of yourself first. And that's the key. And Dr. Tony is the secret sauce. Okay.
I appreciate your confidence, but I know it's because of the work you put in. Thank you so much. We will talk to you guys later, and I will be talking about a very sticky subject in my group tomorrow because there are some things that are happening to us professional women as we're trying to step out into new arenas and getting promoted. But there's some glass over here broken on the floor, and I need you to watch where you step. Talk to you guys
Mm.
soon. Take care.